Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. It is a beautiful sunny day and the perfect time to fill you in on how all the plants are doing that I took off moss poles 6 months ago now. It's been a bit. So recently in a video, I asked you guys if you still wanted an in-depth update on each plant that I took off, how they're looking, how they're doing, and which ones I maybe decided to officially downsize. And several of you wanted to see this video, so I can give you a final update on all of them. This will be my official update, on all the pole situation. And if you want to see how any of these plants are doing, in future videos, they'll be in my update videos. I usually do a walkthrough every 2 months. So I think how I want to do this video is I'll go in order from how I decided to take the plants off, in the previous videos. I'll kind of go in line that way. And I'll tackle some of the plant care with you today. If I can knock out maybe 1 or 2 of them, that will be good. So I do have the video that I'm referring to here. And the first one that we decided to tackle was Monstera esqueleto. So in the last update, I believe it was about 3 going on 4 months ago now, I mentioned that I was thinking about downsizing, so I completely chopped the entire plant. I rooted all the individual nodes. I no longer have Monstera esqueleto nodes. Any of the last ones that I had growing were officially sold off. And I did end up keeping one back because I just couldn't say no. I couldn't let it go. I was going to list it and officially have the plant out of my collection, but I decided to keep one back. Okay, and this is the esqueleto I decided to keep back. This was grown from just a wet stick. So cutting the top leaf, it ended up producing a runner, so I just cut the leaf away and propagated the wet stick node. So that's what I did with that entire plant. And so this is one of the last remaining wet stick nodes that I had growing. And again, I was going to list it, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just hang on to it a little bit longer. If I decide that I no longer want this plant, then I'll just downsize it this year officially. But I do really love Monstera esqueleto. I love the big leaves. And she was really huge at one point. Now this one is something that I need to take care of. I need to either get this put on a coco coir pole, and I might need to repot it. Maybe not yet, but I definitely need to add some support for sure, because if this plant isn't supported, it's definitely going to produce a runner. It's getting ready to push a new leaf here. It's dry. I need to water a lot of my plants. It's actually time to water, so some of these plants might be thirsty. Sometimes I have a hard time letting plants go, and I know I mentioned this plenty of times before. It's just when you've had a plant for so long and you've grown it to be huge and you've cared for it, I have a hard time sometimes downsizing it. But I know these plants get huge and space is sort of an issue in here. And honestly, this is a plant that I don't really like to propagate. I feel like they do fine growing from a wet stick node, but they can be, like I said, with runners, they can be a bit finicky with that. So that's something that I have to keep in mind, that if I do want to prop this in the future, is it going to be a hassle? Do I really want to deal with that? I honestly really love her this size. I love the leaves like this. I don't really want them to get any bigger because I had them massive and it was just too much. It was too overwhelming. So I'm happy to have a shrunken down version of her. So maybe I'll let her grow and see how I feel this year. But yeah, that's Monstera esqueleto. She's doing well, and yeah, I just need to add something in there before she gives me a long runner. Next up on the list was Epipremnum pinnatum albo. And again, all these plants were huge, climbing up moss poles. And so same thing with that one. I decided to keep 2 of the top cuttings with the big leaves. Well, it ended up the new growth was producing runners, so I did the same thing. I just rooted a bunch of wet stick nodes. And I did keep 1 small plant back for me, but that ended up just rotting. I don't know what happened with that, but I actually have, I think, 1 or 2 small plants in the other room. So I think I am tempted to keep one and hold that one back. Again, same thing, because I've had this plant for so long. I think I got this plant in 2021. It was a long time ago. And I do love Epipremnum albo, I really do. I've seen them recently, for $20 locally. So they're common. I mean, I can get it again if I feel like I really miss it. It's just something I have to decide if I want to keep or not. I love the fenestrations. It fenestrates so easily. That's what I love about it. And it does grow beautifully, and yeah, those big mature leaves were gorgeous, but I am limited on space. That's the only thing that's stopping me. So yeah, that one is still a question mark. Okay, next up is philodendron verrucosum, and I love verrucosum. I love the gorgeous leaves, and I had it really beautiful on that moss pole. I still can see it, and I shocked it when I was trying to kill off the ants, and the whole plant died. So all I had left was like 2 wet stick tiny little nodes. And so I had those in a prop box and they sprouted. And in that last video, I had 2 little leaves in a thing of pon. And do you want to see it now, 4 months later? I just saw a couple spider mites and I just took it to the sink to hose it. Because that's the thing, it's like I love this plant, but it's so prone to spider mites. And Michelitziana has been dealing with spider mites in this corner, and it's kind of close to it. So I'm like, they probably just crawled onto it, because verrucosum has like that leafy, thin texture that they just love. This is the full verrucosum. It's like trailing now. It's kind of droopy since it's wet, but let's see. I have 2 vines. This is the big leaf on that vine, and then the other vine is smaller over here. But it's like trailing on my shelf. It's like sitting like that. It's not climbing anymore, but that's the top of it. And I don't really know what to do with this thing, honestly, because I can't really make the vines go back up because it's going to snap if I try and force it. I do kind of like that it's trailing now, and maybe I can just sit it on my shelf and let it just cascade down or something, you know? Because the thing, when I had this on a moss pole and it was so pretty, so beautiful, the thing about this verrucosum, and I even was, you know, providing, I thought, like decent light, and I was trying not to let it go dry all the time, but the spacing, the internodal spacing is so freaking long, you know, that it would grow like 2 leaves and be at the top of the moss pole again. And it's like, I got so sick of trying to chop it and then extend it. And by the time I would chop it and extend the pole again, it was like already at the top. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. So I'm just gonna let it, I think, grow wild. Since I have it and it is growing well, I'm like, I'll hang on to it for now. But I am downsizing like a lot of my philodendron. So if this one gets like really annoying with spider mites, I think I will like officially downsize it, because I don't know. I don't know if some plants are worth it. Like, I love Michelitziana, but she's seriously irritating me with the spider mites. And philodendron used to be like really big spider mite magnets for me, but it really does depend on the type. The backside is really pretty. Do you see? I mean, it's still a decent sized leaf for not being anchored onto anything. So yeah, verrucosum's doing well. It's just kind of dangling. So yeah, that is that one. The next one I did in the video recently was Monstera adansonii, and that was the last plant that I tackled in the main video where I took them all off, and it was huge. I just still can't believe that I grew something like that, and I'll always look back on those videos and photos that I have and just be proud of what I was able to grow from Monstera adansonii. And this is her. So I had potted her up and everything, and I had her climbing up a coco coir pole, and it was fine. I don't know how soon after that video, maybe it was like a few weeks, I noticed the bottom leaf starting to yellow, and I'm like, okay, something's going on. And I just kind of left it at that point. And then the following week, I noticed she just wasn't looking good. And so upon further inspection, the stem was rotting, because that stem was so thick when I had cut it. I had 2 pieces. The other piece I got rid of, and then that main piece I replanted, and it shooted growth. I guess I just didn't let it callus before I buried it in the soil like long enough. Don't really know what happened, but it completely rotted. I guess it just lack of oxygen down there, and the stem rotted, and so that's why all the lower leaves were yellowing. So at that point, I decided to take another top cutting and that's what this is. So this definitely needs taken care of. Maybe we can do this really quick after we do all the updates. So the stem is no longer thick anymore. That was just the top of the growth that I had. I'm thinking we could just plant this in pond and just let it grow up, maybe a coco coir pole. Originally, I was going to plant this one with the variegated one that I got, but I think I want to keep them separate now. But I still love her, even though she's a lot smaller. I've like shrunk her back down to a manageable size. It was cool to grow her to maturity, it really was, and I'm glad that I still have a piece of her, you know. She'll always be special to me, but yeah, we'll go ahead and take care of her after we finish all the updates, and we'll get her potted into pond and get her looking good. But yeah, that's the update on Adansonii. I'm sad that it was rotting, but at least I caught it and I was able to salvage a piece, because yeah, that was upsetting when I found that stem was rotting. The next one on the list is Mandula pothos, and I still have it right there. And so I think we can probably go ahead and take care of this one today too, because it needs another coco coir pole. It's like that far off. Whoopsie, I'll have to like snap it forward. I think I could do that without it breaking. I don't know. Ooh. I think I can do it though. But it's maintained a lot of like big leaves on this thing. So this one initially, when I had taken it off, you know, I didn't have much of a root system because everything was so freaking compacted and all the roots were just not good in the moss. And I had initially planted it, but it was starting to go downhill because it wasn't like rooting. So I basically had this huge top cutting that I stuck in water. I took it out of there, stuck it in water, and let it get water roots, and then I planted it up. So I don't really know what my plan is. Probably just one more layer, and then I think at that point I might just chop it, stick the whole thing in water again, let it root, and then replant it. But I don't know if I want to keep doing that, because again, it's just like the work of a moss pole that I don't really want to keep doing. I don't want to have to keep chopping and extending type of thing. Even though I love these big leaves, I really do. They're so pretty. I just don't want to have to keep chopping, especially once we head into the growing season. They're just going to take off and grow so quickly. I mean, they're growing a lot over winter right now just because it's so warm still in here and they get plenty of light. Like to them, it's not really winter, it's a little bit cooler. That just went all over the floor. But they don't really seem to mind or notice that much. I could just fill her out. What I could do actually is, let me see, she probably needs a repot. Yes, she needs a repot. I don't want to do that today. I don't have enough airwood mix to, actually no, yeah, I'm not going to do that, no. I'm like, what I could do is go ahead and cut her and stick her in water, let her root, and then pot two vines together so that she's like really bushy. I could do that, but again, I don't know if I want to do that today or if I just want to extend her. I'll have to think about it as we go throughout the video. I'll think about what I want to do. But yeah, Mandula did very well, like coming off the moss pole. Well, after she grew some roots. I had to take a quick sip of something. My throat is scratchy. What I had was awful. It was some like, that was one of the worst sinus, like congestion, colds I've ever had. I don't know what kind of bug, viral bug it was, but I have never felt so much congestion and sinus pressure before. I'm feeling much better now. I thought I was getting better and then it ended up getting like worse a couple days ago. I think that was like the peak of it. And oh my gosh, I couldn't even like keep my eyes open. It was so bad. And that was like one of the worst evenings. And then I finally got some sleep and I woke up feeling better. So I think I'm on the mend finally, but yeah, that was awful. I had to move my tripod out of the sun. It was beaming on it, making my camera overheat. So next up is Cebu Blue, and it's thirsty, it needs water. It looks pretty much the exact same, except what I did already was I cut it right here. So it's doing the same thing again where it's producing a runner because it doesn't have anything to climb onto. So I cut it here and it bought me a little time, and then I saw the growth point activate and I just didn't do anything else with it. So now I have this long runner. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut it again and get rid of this. That'll buy me a little bit of time, and when I get a chance here later, what I'll do is I think I need to repot it, and then I'm going to switch the stake to a coco coir pole because I think the plant thinks this skinny pole it's not wanting to climb it. So I think a thicker pole, like a rounder one, will help prevent the runner. So it'll buy me some time. So I have shears, and what I'm going to do is just cut it back because I already used that node. So I'm going to cut it below that one. So that is our new plant. It buys us a little bit of time. And yeah, I'm just going to get rid of the runner. I'm not going to keep this because I kept this one, and the new growth out of here was a complete long runner. So yeah, I'm just going to chuck this. I have a Cebu blue that's trailing, and so there's not really a point in keeping this. You're just not going to get anything out of there. And if I were to do each individual node, I'll have like one little leaf, tiny little leaf, and I might as well just trim one off my other plant. So yeah, switching this for a coco coir pole, and we'll let it climb up, and hopefully, you know, it continues with the fenestrations. But yeah, it definitely needs something thicker than that. The other pothos was the Just Sienna and Marble Queen. So the Just Sienna, I decided to downsize that completely because I have the Marble Queen. And the Just Sienna, so I had taken the top growth from the moss pole and replanted it, and whatever reactivated was the growth, but it reactivated on a low variegation side. So I actually took some clippings just this week of my trailing Just Sienna. I have a few of them in that room, and it's so vibrant and yellow and gorgeous. I'm going to start a new plant, but I am tempted to start another climbing Just Sienna, just like on a coco coir pole, because I think the bright yellow is so pretty. I loved my Just Sienna when it was at its peak before I neglected it and underwatered it like crazy. It was so beautiful. But I kind of miss it. I miss the yellow leaves on that. So I might restart one of those clippings and let it climb, or maybe I'll just do all three and let it climb, who knows. But I am excited to do something with those. So yeah, I got rid of that one, and then Marble Queen I still have, of course. Let me back up a little bit so you can see her. So I think I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 3 lines that are growing, and I have this one actually wrapping around the coco coir pole. It's actually attaching on and climbing up that way. So like I have one set of leaves on the back here, and then the rest here are in the front. She's not nearly like as big, but I still feel like her leaves are pretty big. Right here. I mean, they're still decent size, not as massive, but again, like I don't want those huge leaves anymore. I just don't have the space, but this is very pretty to look at, like compared to just a trailing Marble Queen, you know? So I love her this size and this compact. And I actually am glad that I have 3 vines in here because it does fill her out, and she looks so pretty like this. I love her like this. So I'll definitely add on to her and yeah, just let her keep growing. This was one of my original OG poles as well. Oops, I have another vine over here that's growing. That's growing off. I'll have to get that anchored. Or this one might be reverted. Oh, that's what I did. Yeah. I had clipped a piece because it was growing green, and so this new node is now growing green. So I may clip this back again. Actually, do I want to do that now? I'll wait, it's fine. I'll wait and do that. But yeah, she was one of my original moss pole plants. It's crazy. But again, I have all those beautiful photos when she was huge, and I just like her this petite size. I mean, she's still big. Like, look at that. That's still pretty big. But I like her a lot better like this. And she's another one. I think all these guys need to be pretty much repotted. They're all like rooted in here. So yeah, I love her. Sorderoy is next, and I did keep Sorderoy and I replanted the top part into pond, And since that video 4 months ago, it's just growing. It's going to get huge, you guys. It's gonna get massive. And I'm already like second guessing keeping this one. I love corduroy, I really do, but it's so sticky. The nectaries are just insane on this plant. Let me grab her because she's getting huge. Okay, backing up again. So yeah, these were like the original leaves at the top of the pole that I clipped and replanted. I think there were 2 or 3 of them. And then that one here and that one. It did size down, like the one after that was a little bit smaller, but the latest one is back to being huge again. This is the newest one, which is crazy. And it's just clinging on to the coco coir pole like that. It's not really rooting into it. I mean, it does have some roots, aerial roots here that are kind of gripping it, but I have this kind of tightly secured here. This is a philodendron that doesn't really produce aerial roots like crazy. It's not one that is like a monstera. If it's extra humid, you know, it shoots out all those aerial roots, which my monsteras like to do. This one's a little bit more finicky in that sense. This one and like philodendron glorious is another one. Varicosum especially is another one that's a little bit more finicky with the air roots. So if you wrap it in plastic wrap, it really appreciates that humidity around the air roots if you're really trying to get it to anchor and attach onto something. But because this one is in pon, I knew it was going to get huge because my El Choco is massive and I just have a coco coir pole for support. It's just, I think there's just something about pon and these phylos getting huge. But yeah, this will be my new El Choco. It's massive. I do really love this plant. I love the backside and everything too. So yeah, we'll let her climb and then we'll decide what to do. We'll have to extend her soon. She's kind of right there. And yeah, she's gonna give me another new leaf soon. But yeah, I just don't really have the maintenance of the pole anymore with this. I can just add an extension, fill the reservoir because it's in pon, so it's super easy to do. This one isn't even super rooted yet. So really super easy to water and I don't have to worry about keeping the pole wet. So yeah, this one is by far doing the best. The next one in that video was Majestic, and Majestic I did officially downsize. I don't think I have any more props of Majestic either, unless there's a random wet stick node that hasn't sprouted in one of those bins, then I may have a prop or two, but it's officially like downsized. I decided that I liked corduroy better and Majestic. They are similar. Majestic's a little bit more of a thinner leafed one than corduroy, and it's less sappy, but it does get big. Like I grew it huge too. So yeah, they were just too similar enough that I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to downsize. I don't think I'll miss Majestic. I was really excited to bring it into my collection when I was at the peak of like my moss pole era and excited to grow all those phylos, but it was too many and that was one that I was okay with letting go. The next one in that video is Philodendron gigas. I still have this top cutting in water. I have not done anything with it yet. It's actually taken a really long time to root. I do have roots and I just didn't want to throw away this pretty leaf because it got huge. And this wasn't even on a moss pole. This was on just an open pole, a clear one, and it didn't have any moss in it. So it grew these huge leaves, not even on a moss pole. It's just taking forever to root. So now that I finally have roots, I'm thinking this one would honestly, I find this one to be thirsty. When I had it on that empty pole, I felt like it kept drying out so much, the base. I feel like this one would appreciate pon. So I'm wondering, because I have it, if I should just put it into pon and let it grow and see what happens with it, because I do really like gigas. I had tried to grow Melanochrysum so much and I couldn't grow that one without getting frustrated with it and it sizing up. So I'm like, you know what, let me get gigas and see how I do with gigas. And I do really love this one. I love the pillowy look to it. It's like more oval shaped. So since I have this, I think I will just keep it, plant it in pon and stick a coco coir pole in and see what happens. But I will take care of this one, but I don't know if I want to do this one today either because I think it'll be fine to let it root up a little bit more in water. I just need to change this out. I'll take care of this Yeah, at some point, but not today. And then let me show you all the wet stick nodes because they're starting to sprout. Oh my gosh. Okay, I do have another one. Oh, okay. No, wait, is that majestic? Okay, this was one of the wet stick node bends that I made from chopping some of my poles. A lot of this is philodendron gigas in here. I have a monstera. And I do have philodendron glorious. Okay, maybe there is a majestic in here too. So that is philodendron glorious right there. And then I have all these philodendron gigas. Look at that. Piece of pie. I have some monstera mint. Yeah, a lot of this was philodendron gigas. I think there is a majestic or two in here. And then I have a couple glorious. And speaking of glorious, that was one that I decided to downsize as well. That one and my splendid. My splendid I had downsized a while ago because again, the pole had like ant situation and stuff. And I think I may have one or two small plants like this in one of the other propagation bins of that splendid. I do really like glorious and splendid, and they're very similar, but I did really like glorious and I grew it again. I grew it huge and everything, and then I had kept the top cutting of it and it did fine, and then I just decided it was just too much. So I chopped up all the nodes, and you know what I have left is in here. So now I'm going to be tempted to keep that one. That's the thing. I go to downsize it and then I like second guess it. The little gigas leaves are so cute. But yeah, I'll have to work on getting some of these out of here. This is my favorite way to prop philodendron, especially when they get huge because they don't grow in with huge leaves. And I just get rid of the mature leaf and grow the plant out, the wet stick node. They size up in no time because it came from like a big chunk. Like these guys will get huge in no time. I think that was all of the main plants that I did for that video. I'm going to bend you down so you can actually see me work, and we'll work with the sun a little bit. Okay, it is just way too sunny, so I'm going to bend you this way so we can pot Adansonii. So I'm just going to use a wick pot. It's more like flat. I know this pole won't really fit in here that well, but that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm pretty much out of pond. I need to rinse more. I have a little bit of my DIY that I threw in here, and I mixed in a bunch of perlite for extra airflow and just to make it last a little bit longer. And she's got a pretty good root system there. Shoot, I actually need to get her down further. This might dry up a bit, this top one. I don't think I can really, unless I can actually cut this. I don't know if I want to cut this. Do I want to cut it? Because I could keep the top one since I have roots on 4 nodes and then it will reshoot. Maybe I can do that and make a fuller pot. Yeah, we'll cut it in half and do 2 and 2. That way we can get these down a little bit lower. Okay, I think that looks good. I think once this once it starts producing some air roots, it'll start gripping onto here and then I can guide it. I don't think I'm going to attach it at this moment, but as soon as it starts growing, I will, and this one will reactivate from like right there. I hadn't rinsed this pond through yet, so I'm like, let me rinse it and then I'll dump this outside. I filled it a little bit fuller than normal because I don't want this to go dry while we're gone, so that should last plenty. Oh, I'm excited for the Adansonii restart. I'm more excited now than I was when I first chopped her. I think because I was still sad. But I'm excited to watch her regrow, and now that I have 2 vines, she'll fill out more. I'm happy with her. So that is new Adansonii. Okay, I am way down here on the floor. We're gonna end it with Mandula. So I have a double extension already pre-made. So I'm just going to slide this in the top of here. Shucks, I need to cut that. This is probably gonna be way too top heavy now. Okay. Okay, I definitely don't want to snap that. So we're gonna do right here. Just gonna anchor this top node. What do you think? Let me back away so you can see her. Okay, so from the bottom, we added that 2-layer extension, and she's got that room to work with. I think the 2-layer was definitely a lot. I don't think I needed to add quite so much. I'll let her climb a little bit more, and then, yeah, like I said, I'll probably do a chop where it's gaping here because I don't want to snap that vine anymore. I'll probably chop it there, and then, yeah, we'll root the top half. That's gonna be a pretty leaf. I have her kind of tucked behind the monstera, so she's kind of like back there in the corner. So yeah, that is the update on the pole situation. And yeah, again, I don't know what some of these plants will look like this year. I may just get fed up with some, like the varicosum, if that continues to get spider mites. I think I might chuck it. Well, I'll downsize it. I'll root it and at least let the top growth go. That's another one that's kind of hard to propagate as well. It's finicky for me to prop, so it's not worth the hassle, honestly, for me. So that one, I really don't think I'm going to restart the Glorious. I think I'll just set that up as a propagation to list. Yeah, I'll get the Gigas restarted and I'll see how I feel about that one. I am chopping back a lot of plants this spring, so I'll feel like I'll have more space. So we'll see how I feel as the year progresses. But I definitely feel like philodendron is a plant genus that I still love, but it's definitely not my favorite anymore. I don't care to get huge, massive leaves like I used to. I just want a plant that's manageable, that is easy to care for. And that's really my goal. If I want to chop it back, I will. And I really just don't want plants that stress me out in my collection. I hope you enjoyed the update. I'll link my previous update videos that I did on this whole process if you're just tuning in and missed that entire thing. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions down below, and any future, like I said, any future updates on these plants specifically will be in my updates that I do every other month. And so if you're interested, just look out for those. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up. Thank you so much again for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again soon.